Hello, everybody. Today we're going to walk through an example of a sentence correction problem, and that sentence correction problem can be found on page 686 of the official guide for GMAT Review 2017, and it is question number 694. I understand that this is an older version of our textbook. However, this question is still relevant, and everything that you need to know to walk through this question is included in this presentation. As always, the first thing we want to do is read our question. So here is our sentence. With corn, soybean, and wheat reserves being low enough so a poor harvest would send prices skyrocketing, grain futures brokers and their clients are especially interested in weather that could affect crops. And our underlined part is being low enough so. In sentence correction questions, the underlined part is the part that we're specifically looking at, and we will be given 5 answer choices that underlined part could be rewritten to say. And basically what we want to find is the answer that is the most grammatically correct. Sentence correction questions are, in my opinion, one of the more difficult questions on the GMAT. The reason I say that is because, at least for me, there's not necessarily a clear-cut right answer and wrong answer. There is, but the problem is, particularly in this question, a lot of the answer choices are correct. They're just not the most correct. They're just not the best way to say it. So I do these a lot by sound. I read it and I listen. I read it out loud because that's how I work. I listen to it and I repeat each answer choice. And the one that sounds the most correct to me is the one I choose. I typically am not very familiar with why it's the correct one. I may not know, I may not be able to say it's because of this specific reason, but it sounds the best. So let's walk through these and we'll kind of see if what I'm saying makes sense. So our answer choices for this question are being low enough so, which is going to be the same as the original question because it's always the same as the original question. So if the original question is the best way to say it, A is going to be your answer choice. So low such that is our B answer choice. C is so low that. D is that are low enough so. And E is that are so low such that. So we're going to walk through each of these. Like I said, I like to read the answer choice back in the sentence, and you're looking for the best choice, not necessarily the only one that's correct, but the best way to say what you're saying. So let's look at answer choice A, which is being low enough so. And again, our sentence would then say, or as it said originally, with corn, soybean, and wheat reserves being low enough so a poor harvest would send prices skyrocketing, grain futures brokers, and then the rest of the sentence. So this is technically correct. It's a little wordy, and it sounds like it could be rephrased to sound better. So I don't think this is the right answer choice because if I were writing the sentence, this is not how I would write it. So let's look at some of the other answer choices. Answer choice B, so low such that. With corn, soybean, and wheat reserves so low such that a poor harvest would send prices skyrocketing. Again, this, it sounds like it is not incorrect, but it's a little bit redundant and again wordy. So I'm thinking I don't need all of those words to say this very clearly and concisely. So I don't think this is the right answer choice. The next answer choice is answer choice C, so low that. With corn, soybean, and wheat reserves so low that a poor harvest would send prices skyrocketing, grain futures brokers, and then the rest of the sentence. So this one to me is pretty clear, pretty standard written English. It's very direct. and wheat reserves so low that a poor harvest. So this one, I think, is probably going to be the easiest way to say this phrase, but I do need to keep looking at the rest of the answer choices just to be sure. Answer choice D, that are low enough so, with corn, soybean, and wheat reserves that are low enough so a poor harvest would send prices skyrocketing. Again, it says what it needs to say, but it's unnecessarily wordy, and using the words enough and so is redundant. It's just not the most concise way to say this, so I don't think this is the right answer choice. And finally, our last answer choice is that are so low such that. With corn, soybean, and wheat reserves that are so low such that a poor harvest would send prices skyrocketing, my instinct tells me that answer choice C, which was so low that, is saying the same thing but so much more direct and concise that this is not going to be the right answer choice. It's very wordy. It's very redundant. It just says the same thing too many times. So this is not going to be our answer choice that's correct either. So we go back to answer choice C, which was the most direct, the most concise, and the most way to say this phrase in standard written English, and that was, with corn, soybean, and wheat reserves so low that a poor harvest would send prices skyrocketing, grain futures brokers and their clients are especially interested in weather that could affect crops. So that's our correct answer. So again, I never want to stop in these questions until I've gone through every answer choice, because to me it sounds good, but there might be something better. Again, it's not, is this right or is this wrong? It's what is the best way to phrase this. So I go through every answer choice. I immediately eliminate ones once I found a better one, and then I go with the best answer choice. Like I said, I like to read these out loud. It's an easier way for me to see if it's correct. That might be difficult in your circumstances. Of course, sitting in my home office with nobody around, I can read them out loud as many times as I want. So, you might want to try and read sort of whisper under your breath, or find a way that works well for you so that you can hear what it sounds like so that you can choose that best choice. If you have any questions about sentence correction or any other types of questions, please let me know. You can email me. You can come to any of our office hours. You can post a question under our weekly threads. Just let me know. Thanks.